In the previous video, we learned how to find the lower and upper bounds for individual values. In this video, I'll show you how to use those bounds to perform calculations. I'll also go through a tricky past paper question, so make sure you watch until the end. Let's start with addition. Imagine two people are combining their money. Person A has 150 euros rounded to the nearest 50, and person B has 60 euros rounded to the nearest 10. So we don't know their exact amounts, only the range of possible values. A lies between 125 and 175, B lies between 55 and 65. To find the smallest possible sum, we take the smallest values. 125 plus 55 will give me 180. To find the largest possible sum, we take the largest values. 175 plus 65 is equal to 240. And here is the key idea for addition: to find the lower bound at the lower bounds, to find the upper bound at the upper bounds. Let's move on to multiplication. Imagine we're finding the area of a rectangle by multiplying its length and width. The length A is 150 centimeters rounded to the nearest 50, and the width B is 60 centimeters rounded to the nearest 10. The upper and lower bounds of A and B are the same as before. To find the smallest possible product, we take the smallest values. 125 times 55 is equal to 6,875. To find the largest possible product, we take the largest values. 175 times 65 is equal to 11,375. And here is the key idea for multiplication. Just like addition, to find the lower bound, multiply the lower bounds, and to find the upper bound, multiply the upper bounds. Let's move on to subtraction. Imagine someone has some money and they spend part of it. Let's call the original amount A, which is 150, rounded to the nearest 50, and the amount spent B, which is equal to 60, rounded to the nearest 10. The upper and lower bounds of A and B are the same as before. Now, this is where things change compared to addition and multiplication. To find the smallest possible difference, we need to think carefully. We want the result to be as small as possible. That happens when we take the smallest value of A and subtract the largest value of B. So 125 minus 65 is equal to 60. To find the largest possible difference, we do the opposite. We take the largest value of A and subtract the smallest value of B. So 175 minus 55 is equal to 120. Here is the key idea for subtraction. To find the lower bound of the difference, take the lower bound of A and subtract the upper bound of B. And to find the upper bound of the difference, take the upper bound of A and subtract the lower bound of B. Finally, let's move on to division, where we calculate the quotient Q. Imagine an amount of money, let's call this A, which is 150 correct to the nearest 50, is being shared equally among a number of people. Let's call this B, which is 60 correct to the nearest 10. We use the same bounds as before. For each person to receive as little as possible, the total money must be smallest and the number of people must be largest. So we take the smallest value of A and divide by the largest value of B. So 125 divided by 65 is 1.92, correct to three significant figures. To find the largest possible amount per person, we do the opposite. The total money must be largest and the number of people must be smallest. So we take the largest value of A and divide by the smallest value of B. So 175 divided by 55 is equal to 3.18, correct to three significant figures. Here is the key idea for division. To find the lower bound of a quotient, take the lower bound of A and divide by the upper bound of B. To find the upper bound of the quotient, take the upper bound of A and divide by the lower bound of B. This table summarizes everything. Don't memorize this. Think about maximum and minimum. If you like a copy of this table, you can find a link to the presentation in the description. Finally, a tricky example from past papers. The acceleration a of an object is given by the formula a is equal to v minus u over t, where v, u and t are given together with the rounding used. And then the question says, by considering bounds, work out the value of a to a suitable degree of accuracy. Let's start by finding lower and upper bounds for v, u and t. And let's move on to find the lower and upper bound of a. To find the lower bound of a, I will divide the lower bound of the numerator over the upper bound of the denominator. Since the numerator is the difference between v and u, and I want the lower bound, I will subtract the lower bound of v minus the upper bound of u. Denominator stays as the upper bound of t. Replace the values from above and you'll get the lower bound of a. For the upper bound of a, I will need the upper bound of the numerator over the lower bound of the denominator. And to find the upper bound of the difference in the numerator, I'll do upper bound of v minus lower bound of u. Replace the values in the formula and calculate the upper bound of a. To finish off this question, let's consider the following table. Rounding the lower bound and upper bound to one significant figure will give me 5 for both. Rounding to two significant figures will give me 4.7 for both. When you round to three significant figures, the lower bound is 4.69, but the upper bound is 4.75, so they are not equal. The maximum accuracy for which these two are equal is two significant figures. So my final answer will be A is equal to 4.7, correct to two significant figures, since lower bound equals upper bound, correct to two significant figures, but not equal, correct to three significant figures.